And there we go. YouTube says we are live. Welcome back, everybody, in the chat or on the replay to Wizardly Ramblings number 6 with this little-known channel. I know he's getting tired of this joke. Mike, you might have heard of him. He's an up-and-comer, so, let's give him a welcome and let him introduce himself.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous. I'm new at these things. I haven't really done this very much. So I guess I'll just say I'm Mike, and I'm happy to be here.
Oh yeah. You're creeping up on that 95K, aren't you?
Slowly. I don't know who. I don't know. Did someone buy YouTube and change everything? Because I think they turned the dials the wrong way. Because I'm like just like nothing anymore. It's like I get like 11 subscribers a day or something, which I know that a lot of people are like, I'd love to have that. But I was like, compared to what I was getting like 6 months ago, yeah, it was like, wow, what happened? So,
well, it's weird for me. Last month, I was hitting, like, for me, good number, like the best numbers I'd ever hit, and then it just flipped on a dime. I did nothing different.
Yeah. I still blame the shorts. It didn't start doing this till they started pushing the shorts, and I started doing them.
Well, it's funny. I started doing the shorts, and like I doubled my subscriber count in a month.
Wow. They work for some
not
people.
my monthly subscriber count, like my new subscribers. I went from 100 to 200, and then that lasted for like 5 days, and then I think I took one day off of a short, and it just back down. That's high praise, Patrick. High praise. Oh, we got Scott. Okay, so what is one of Scott's favorite series that I can talk trash about? I'm just kidding.
Realm of the Elderlings.
Oh, I'm not gonna pick on him for Realm of the. Honestly, like I'm glad he loves Realm of the Elderlings, and I like Realm of the Elderlings up until a certain point.
Bobaverse. He likes the Bobaverse. I read the first book, and I was like, this is pretty dumb. So
I've read all 4 of the current Bobaverse. I didn't think they were going to do a 5 because like book 3 ends pretty comprehensively. So does book 4.
Yeah,
so
like at that point, book 4 let him down a little bit. Yeah.
Well, book 4 was just a rehash of a lot of the same ideas. On the first 3, it was just kind of repackaged and given to you. There's a couple new things in there, but honestly, the way to experience Bob is again on audio because it's narrated by a legend. And
everything I hear about, you should do the audio.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you've got a legendary narrator who can like elevate a pretty mediocre text, you can kind of push for it a little bit.
I've said that before. Some people have been like, well, was it really that great, or do you guys just love everything Tim Reynolds, whatever he does on audio? And
I don't like Tim Reynolds. I'm not a TGR guy.
That's just the one I know by him, and Stephen Pacey are the ones I know by name because I hear about them constantly.
I mean, Pacey is First Law, so you would hear about him quite a bit. I can't pick on Robert McCammon because I love everything I've read of Robert McCammon so far. I just did Boy's Life, which
I've only read 3 books, but 2 of them are like, top 100 books all time, so.
I'm at 4. We just jumped right into this and just started going.
We never have a problem talking. I'm going to be doing They Thirst, and which I was told today very hilariously on Twitter that They Thirst sounds like the name of a Henry Cavill autobiography. And or what his fans would say about him, and what Speaks of Nightbird, because another one that Brent and Scott carry on about is the Matthew Corbett. Yeah, it was one of those where I was like, today I was planning my schedule through the rest of the year. It's a rough draft, but I'm just trying to be realistic because I got some real thick books on there, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do all those ones I said were series I was gonna start in permanent ink. I was like, unless I just like read the first book just to say that I did it. So I had to cut 2 of those series like off right now, unless things really, really pick up, because I'm doing 1 Realm of the Elderlings and 1 Expanse book from now until the end of the year. So there's half my month right there. So I have to try to fit everything else in there. Yeah.
Stupid. I dipped on the Expanse.
Yeah. How far did you get?
I got 4 books in.
Oh, well, I'm starting book 4 in a week. Yeah. So.
There wasn't anything I could put my finger on that I didn't like, other than like at times it would just be like, hey, I want to have a thing happen in the plot. What happens if I poke this particular thing and set things in motion for no particular reason or justification, and then just watch things explode? And it's, I mean, and it's entertaining. It was just kind of like not what I was looking for at the time.
I mean, you DNFing something. I mean, that's nothing new, man. You DNFing something. Hey, we made it 5 minutes before I mentioned your DNF. Come on.
You did. Have I DNF'd anything this month? I mean, I NFN'd something. That's a workaround this month. But that's because my buddy reader dipped on me. So.
Are you talking about the audio thing? Is like today I was talking about, man, it's not because I don't want to. I'm loving these Ryan Cahill books. I'm loving them. They're great. I'm already about a quarter of the way through book number 2 right now. And I was like, yeah, that one. I was like, I'm trying to find a place in my TV where I can comfortably put, because I just finished this. Okay. And this is amazing, but it's one of the longest books I've ever read. And I'm just like, I'm not ready to jump into, another 1,500 page book. And I was like, we already got Gone with the Wind on the schedule in July. So I was like,
oh gosh.
So I was like, when can I fit this in? And people are like, oh, it's no big deal. The audio comes out in a week. And I'm like, I don't know how many times I got to tell you guys. It's overnight. I changed my mind. I do audiobooks now, so.
I'm being called out. I've actually DNF'd faster than 35 pages before. If I'm noticing something in the prose that I know is going to bug me, my autism kicks in and I'm just like, nope. Shut it down.
Like I said, I'll DNF a series, but I very rarely DNF a book unless it's like, I know everybody loves them, but that 3 body problem book, I was halfway through. I was like, this is not what I was looking for. No, and
it's in my unhaul pile right over there.
Yeah.
I was looking at it and I was like, okay, I hear these things are legendary, but I'm not a huge fan of First Contact. If like First Contact either is like amazing for me or I hate it. And when it leans more towards the hard sci-fi and like the big ideas, I kind of want more character work. So, don't get me started on The Witcher. It was one of the first series. I remember when I was first like joining Discord, like any Discord whatsoever. Witcher was one of the first ones I picked up because I was a huge fan of Witcher 2 and Witcher 3.
Right.
And so I had an expectation of what I was going to get.
Well, the thing is, you didn't like the books that were actually good. That's what I was like, oh, yeah, definitely not for you then. Because I feel like I made it through Time of Contempt now, and I'm like, they've gotten worse each book.
Oh, yeah. No, so I'm
not liking this trend line. That tells me, okay, what was it, Scott, that taught me is like, if you read 3 books in a row and each one was worse than the last, I would probably take that as an indicator.
There's not enough monster hunting. Like I want my last wish monster
Witcher
hunting.
In the Witcher book. It's like, do I really got to hear about Ciri and Yennefer and dealing with taxes and dealing with politics and dealing with court life? I'm just like, this is not The Witcher. This is The Witcher's in the background, and this is everybody else in The Witcher's life. Yeah.
He's just out there. He's just out there doing like Witcher either works for you or you just absolutely hate it.
Right.
And like I hear the excuse of it's a poor translation. Great, retranslate it. Like redo it.
Sure.
Do it again.
Right, because I said Time of Contempt was the first time I really, really noticed it, where I was like, I feel like they're overreacting to things in here. I was like, this must be a translation thing. It's like there's just either they're underreacting or overreacting to everything. And I was like,
Ryan did one of those things where he bought all those very sexy.
Oh, that's the thing, is I rebought all the hardcovers because I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Ryan did the same thing. And I was just like, oh, you shouldn't have done that.
It's all right. They'll be out of print in about a year. You can resell them. Yeah. Give them away.
Yeah. Just turn them for a profit.
It's a shame because I really did think that the first short story book was really good. Really
Last Wish is nasty.
Yeah.
Smacked my laptop.
It's so good. It makes him smack his camera. Yeah. But
yeah, it's so good.
Man.
I was really excited because I love I don't typically like retellings, but if you can take the Grimm fairy tales and zhuzh them up a little bit and like put a spin on it, I love that for some reason. Like the Grimm TV show. I loved the Grimm TV show. And when I was reading Last Wish, it was like, this is Grimm fairy tales. That's all this is Grimm fairy tales with a Witcher spin. And I loved it. Yeah, they are really pretty, but they're just, I couldn't do it. Like, because when The Last Wish came out, I was like, I'm gonna get that. And then I was just like, but you hate the rest of the series. I mean, I liked Through Blood of Elves. Blood of Elves was pretty solid, but I don't know. I just got actually over here. Hold on. Speaking of Lonesome Dove, I just got these two on the shelf.
You know what's really crazy is I forget one of them. I've got 3 of the 4, and someone has tried to send me the missing one twice, and both times Amazon has lost it. So I was like, maybe that's a sign. I have no idea how. Because that happens occasionally,
Yeah.
But to happen to the same person on the same book twice, what is going on? So I don't know.
I don't know. It could be that they've got a listing of Palmer still wants to know who Mike is the host of Mike's
Palmer,
Book Review.
if Andrew knows the answer to that, I wish he'd tell me. I can't figure it out either.
Mike is a different man every day he wakes up. He's always growing. He's always learning. He's apparently, if you look at the thumbnail, he's the galaxy's best dad, which I take personal affront to because I think I am.
According to my kids, that's true. But you know what? They've only got one of them, so it's a small field. So
that's a good answer.
I win by default on that one. Yeah.
But Palmer is the author of where do I put him? Of Heliotrope right here. Love it. Did I drop something again? No. Okay. Cool. Fantastic book. But it's currently entered into SPFBO 9. SPFBO 9. I always say SPFBO, and then
I got an email about being a reviewer / judge for that, and I was like, I can't. I really can't. So awesome.
I'm on Team Bookborn.
Outstanding.
So I'm very, very excited. I'm
very happy to be a part of it. Like before, like ever. I've never engaged with her at all.
I've engaged like my way in was like she's friends with Alan, and then Leslie is also friends with her. But I mainly just talked with her husband, who wrote the Threadlight books, which I really, really enjoyed.
Wait, she's married to Zach Argyle?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Okay,
her name is Hillary Argyle.
No kidding. I had no idea. See, that's had no idea. I contributed to his Kickstarter.
Yeah. I did as well. I am getting that sexy.
And I'll be reading that when it actually messaged him today, just saying, hey, not a problem if not. I'm saying, do you realistically think it's going to be shipped this year? Because I'll put it on my schedule if so. And he said, yeah, definitely.
I mean, they're all written. It's all.
Yeah, I know, but Kickstarter. But the way shipping and the way printing is right now, it's just so unpredictable. I just wanted to make sure. It's not a big deal if it doesn't. I did that and the Sword of Kaigen, and I'll read both of those when I get it.
Kaigen is good. Kaigen's one of the first. Back when I first started BookTube, I was watching Daniel Green a lot, and Daniel Green was pushing it. And I read it, and I mostly enjoyed what that book is. It can get rough at times, both emotionally and on its narrative. So it's not perfect, but for what it is, it was really good.
Are you talking about Sword of Kaigen or Threadlight?
Oddly enough, both.
Oh, okay. I've had Sword of Kaigen on paperback for like 2 years now. But
I never wanted to get that paperback because a bunch of the people who picked it up right around when I was reading it, like the first page always had a tendency to like become unglued and fall out, which prevented me from getting the physical copy. Like I had it happen to like 3 of my friends, and I was like, maybe I'll hold off. And then this Kickstarter got announced, and I was like, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Makes sense.
Oh, I know Patrick will fall on his Sword of Kaigen sword. The problem is it's an unfinished series.
I thought it was a standalone. Is it not? It's going to be a series now?
Technically is a standalone. So the way it was worked from my understanding. Now I could have this wrong. If somebody in the comments is willing to correct me and check me on this, be my guest. Is Sword of Kaigen is a standalone in a world that had a spinoff set 10 years later that was YA portal fantasy. And then there were certain tie-ins into Kaigen that were supposed to be relevant into that series that went nowhere. Gotcha. So you've got some plot threads that really just don't go anywhere. And the author, at least 2 years ago, kind of released a statement saying, I'm not sure how to make this work right now, so I'm just kind of taking a break from the series. And so that's kind of where it sits right now.
I see. Well, I just said, hey, cool, Kickstarter. I can finally make myself read it when I pay $100 for that book, So, With me, I was like with Kickstarter is because so many people, believe it or not, jumped on me for not contributing to the Brandon Sanderson one. I was like,
No.
I have it in my budget to do this once or twice a year for Kickstarters. And I say, I want to do it for maybe some smaller, lesser known authors. Brandon Sanderson was going to make his money without me just fine. There wasn't like I don't like Brandon Sanderson anymore. It's just like, I want to help smaller authors with these Kickstarters, that might not get their funding.
Yeah.
So that's why I made that decision.
Have you read Tress yet?
Yeah, I read Trust and Emerald. Yeah.
Did you like it? Oh, that's right. You got the surprise book box.
Yeah. That got me even more hate mail. After I said I didn't contribute to it, and then I got it before they did. Yeah. So I got.
Well, that's because there was all the shipping issues. I was rather harsh on Tress. I did not get a lot of joy. I felt like it was too long. Like if that book had maybe been 100 pages shorter, I'd have gotten a lot more joy out of it.
Kay, I work in finance. I can't help it. It's just the way that I'm wired. I can't not.
What did Kay say? How dare you be responsible for with your spending?
Making myself only contribute to 2 Kickstarters per year. Yeah.
I've been bad. I've contributed to 3 or 4 recently. I just got these in the mail. Where's the other one?
Well, I did Sword of Kaigen, and I did Thread. I was going to do Christopher Rocchio's, but he refused to take my money. He refused to take my money because I did the unveiling for him. So he's going to, so he wants to send me one for free. I was like, I have no problem paying for it. He's like, no. So
you poor man. I weep for you.
I know. But hey, he credits me for like him getting discovered basically. And I'm like, that's not the truth at all. I was like, I might've been like the first one really on BookTube to review it. But if your book had sucked, it wouldn't have kind of took off. Obviously it was word of mouth. And then your book was really good.
A lot of authors just need that word of mouth. Like everybody thinks being trad pubbed is this immediate gateway to success. I've gotten a book deal. They're going to handle all of my advertising for me. That's why NetGalley exists. They beg you to read the book first. To
calm down, Ryan. That's not what I meant. Jeez, I can't say anything around Ryan. He'll just attack me.
Hey, Sharon. Ryan's in good form tonight.
I know, right?
Yeah, I actually am discontinuing my all my book subscriptions because there's too many Kickstarters coming out that I want.
Dang, shot. That's a lot. It's like at least $1,000 probably. Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of them are kind of reasonable. Like I've backed Mother of Learning, which was like $35 a piece.
I've never seen one less than like 75 to start.
These were also 35 a piece. So they do exist, but like once you get into like the faux leather bound, like these are just standard hardcovers. Like that's what those are. That are just kickstarted to get a hardcover edition out there. But once you get into like the sewn bindings, the faux leathers, the full color illustration, that's when it starts getting $75 to $100, which Dragon Mage is getting one, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
Who's that?
That's ML Spencer. One of
I've heard of those a long time ago. Yeah, okay. I didn't know
one of the best autistic POVs ever.
Really?
The main character is on the spectrum, fully on the spectrum. And it's so good. It's so good. There's a couple rough spots, but it was my book of the year for, I think,
that's an older book, though, right?
Say what?
That's an older book, though, right?
2019.
Really?
No.
God, I feel like I've been hearing about these for a long time. Maybe I got it confused with something else.
Hold on. Now you got me questioning myself. Dragon Mage.
You're probably right. There's so many of these series that sometimes I think, I'm getting confused with like maybe I'm thinking of Saga Recluse. That one's
been out for a long time.
That was going for almost as long as Terry Brooks Shannara had.
It came out 2021. Huh, I was wrong. I was trying to make it older than it was. Terry Brooks, man, someday I'll get back to Shannara, but it is not.
I mean, I appreciated it for when I read it, and I still think that people are way too hard on it. And I think that you guys need to put some respect on his name because the genre was on life support in the 80s before he brought it back to the mainstream. But I will also say at this point in my life, it would be like me going back and trying to read Aragon. It's not going to work. It's too late. too late at this point, you know.
So you're putting the kibosh on Aragon too. Isn't there a new book coming out now?
I mean, I think so. I tried to go back and read it. Like right around when I first started this channel, I was like, I'm going to finally finish that, and I got to the exact same point in book 2, basically where I stopped the first time. Wasn't like, oh, I got to stop. I just never felt like going back to it. And to be fair, that was when I first started the channel, and I was just like so excited to talk about a billion other books, and I started getting, you know how it is, you start getting a billion recommendations. I'm not going to start that. And I started Mark Lawrence. I started Pierce Brown at that time. I was still doing Wheel of Time. It just kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Oh, I've got almost half of these are recommendations.
But I finally called it and just said, I'm clearly never going to finish this series. Yeah.
So that leads me to a question I've always wanted to ask you. If you are putting the kibosh on a series saying never again, will you remove them from your collection?
I took my Lightbringer. What's it called? Lightbringer by Brent Weeks. I took that off my shelf. I took Demon Cycle off my shelf. Those are hardcovers too.
Yeah.
And I just got them sitting on the floor. They just don't deserve the shelf space anymore. So I would say I'd get rid of them. I don't know. A few of them are signed. I don't know how I feel about it, even though, I'm not ever going to read them. And I'm pretty sure I'm done with Brent Weeks, period. So
it was just freeing up shelf space to get stuff off the floor.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I would probably, if the shipping wasn't ridiculous, I would just, whoever wants them, I'll send them to them. But those hardcovers are heavy. So it might be like a nice little, hey, I got to know a friend locally that I can walk them to, because they're heavy. But I don't know.
I just opened up a Pango Books that I put in my description boxes. And it's a lot of running back and forth to the postal office. But I was able to turn probably 10 books in a week. And they handle all the shipping labels and all that sort of stuff. It seems to be nice. And they've got like different categories of like paperback, light paperback, heavy paperback.
It's one of those where it's like, I spent so much money to get this. It just feels weird to just like,
just feels weird to let it go.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I know I need to. Like I saw your super sad book haul and or book on haul. And I was like, I need to do that. I probably wouldn't do it on camera because I would just get like emotional. But but I don't know. Hey, Christopher, one of the nicest guys out there. I really want to read his book.
Oh, he's so good. I was giving him crap because he was like, I'll send you hardcovers. I was like, I'm sitting right here.
Right. You read the new one, right?
Yeah, I actually just finished Wrathbringer yesterday.
Oh.
Very good. Very good. If you like, how do I describe it? It's very character focused. There's a lot of character growth, but also there's a lot of political jockeying. There's a lot of combat. There's just darkness abounds. Like it's really good. I've really enjoyed Christopher's writing so far. Like I highly recommend it if you like dark character based fantasy with a little bit of combat. Because like these people are messed up.
That's what I was telling God, I forget his name. I was talking with Bo on Twitter today and just basically telling him, like, trust me, I wish I could quit my job and just read full time. It's like, because there's just so much stuff that I want to read. And I can't say yes to everybody, and the fact that I feel like once I am done with the expansion of the Eldlings, I am not committing to read-alongs ever again. And I'm like, I'm done with them because I want to have some freedom, because when I'm doing this, like I said, I've got one Realm of the Eldlings book and one Expanse book per month until the end of the year. And I'm like, that's half
I've been there
right there. That's half my
I've
month.
been there.
And then, Ryan Cahill can't write a book that's less than, 400,000 freaking words. So, it's...
But hey, you're enjoying it. So that's what matters.
Man, they're great. They're great. Have you read the newest one? Have you read War Rune?
No, I've only read the first book. And then when I went to go read book 2, it had been too long. And it was to the point where, like, even the story so far, I was just like reading the story far going, I need to reread the first book. Because I couldn't remember. I remembered all of the first half of the book, which is kind of just 2 rivers, easy to digest. And then once you leave that area, my brain just went, you don't need this information, and just dumped it.
Well, the good news is he writes really good recaps at the beginning of his books. So,
Yeah, I know. But I figured if I was going to do it justice, I'm planning to do a Discord read along, and the Wizardly do a Discord. Probably, I would say either July or August is when that's going to start. I have to
road down there saying do standalones or just trilogies. I'm talking tomorrow about Blake Crouch, which I think is like the best standalone author out there for you guys right now. And then I'm going to read him. Yeah, it's true. I said recently, it's like if it's over 5 books, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm just done with it. I'm just over it, man. Just tell your story, get in and get out. You know,
Yeah.
I love me some trilogies. I did a video about trilogies recently, and I was just like, I love this because I didn't feel like there was any fluff in them. But I'm like, I don't want to say, okay, I'm only doing trilogies. So if you got over that tough shit, you know, I don't want to do that to anybody. But I'm saying now, it's like, if your series is over 5 books, it's not going to be anytime soon.
Yeah. I'm currently still making my way through King. I'm making my way through David Gemmell. I'm making my way through.
I'm doing Legend in December. Yeah.
Legend's good. It's rougher, but it's his first book. It was released in the 70s, but it's good. I like it. It's more of heroic fantasy, kind of adjacent to sword and sorcery. So go in expecting something closer to like Conan, and you'll have kind of your taste set a little bit more. It's I don't want to get you hyped up for it, but Legend, I've already read 15 of the man's books.
I'm seeing a bunch of weird comments over here. I'm gonna read your comments for you.
I can't stand.
I'm surprised Mike doesn't read more urban fantasy with less addressing. Well, I mean, I still want to do Alex Verus. Again, it's just it's a numbers thing. It's a numbers thing, and that is also that's okay. That's a 12-book series, and you're like, oh, you just said no more. I think urban fantasy and these books are like what 350 pages. I think that those, like the Drizzt one, they don't kind of fall into the same rule. If you've got 14 books the size of Wheel of Time books, yeah, I'm not anxious to get into that right now. That's all. And I'm not saying never. Yeah, Song of the Shattered Sands is one that I had to say I don't know if I'm going to get to it this year, Ryan. I still want to. I still really do.
I've DNF'd the first book twice.
Wow, that good, huh?
Is that good? Well, it's funny because one of my friends, Jake the Bookish Drummer, also another huge King reader, he loves it. But usually, like, we don't agree on King books either. We have pretty much exact opposite tastes. So, like, if I love a King book, he's like either meh on it or like, and so we have opposite tastes. And he loves Bradley P. Bulio's Song of the Shattered Sands. And I can't do it.
Is that how you say it, Bulio? I've been saying Bouye, and everybody's like, you're saying it wrong. I'm like, I know. I have no idea how to say his name.
I don't know. That's what my brain tells me it is, but it could be 100% wrong.
Bradley P. Yeah.
Bradley.
Well, he sent me like the first 5 like signed like 2 years ago, and I feel like I should read them by now. I mean, and that's the thing is I always say never. I mean, look, Mike Shackles sat on the shelf for 2 years. And I just read that and I loved them, So
I have those on my wish list ready to buy because you've been loving them so much.
Oh, I can't wait for you to DNF the first book because they're like throwing babies in the fireplace and shit. And you'll be like, oh, it's too much for me.
Oh, if it's infant stuff, that tends to get me. Although
I'm not saying it is, but I'm also not saying that it isn't. It's
if it's that kind of trigger, I can handle some darkness. Like I can hang with
he's got plenty of that
with a certain level of darkness. But I do have like one sticking point. Now the last time I DNF'd a book for that, my like son had just been born, so I was still like a new father for the second time, and I was just like, I'm not reading that.
Right.
But I mean, then I got 3 months of him crying through the night, and I picked that. And I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so I was like, I tell myself all the time, like, oh yeah, I love Grimdark, and then I'll read some of the stuff and I'll be like, geez, like I'm gonna tell you guys, this might be one of the most grim books I've ever read in my life because I think about westward expansion in America.
It's brutal.
It's hard to stay alive. It really is, and this book just kind of proves that. But I wouldn't call it grimdark, clearly, because you do have characters that you're rooting for. There are white knights basically in that book, but yeah, it's definitely one of the most grim I've ever read.
MHI gets kind of long in the tooth. I haven't returned to the book for I think book 9 just dropped.
I want to read Larry Correa. He sounds like an author that'll really, really click for me.
I loved these. They're like a noir, urban fantasy, alternate history type of deal. And I love those. And then I've got the Saga of the Forgotten Warrior, and I'm kind of hit and miss on them. They don't blow my socks off, but like when they work,
or just Correa overall.
Say what?
Are you talking about MHI or are you talking about Correa overall?
I'm talking. I was talking specific series.
Oh, okay.
The first,
because I want to do Saga of the Forgotten Warrior, but I was like, at this point, I was like, okay, well, I didn't know it wasn't complete, and that's that thing where people are like, "Oh, don't wait till series is complete to read it." I'm like, "Look, I've got all these series that are complete. I'm going to read them first. That's all. I've got some that I'm not. Look, Ryan's still writing his series. I'm reading his books. You know, Stormlight's still being written. I'm reading that. You know, so I will on a case by case basis. But I've also I've got all these complete series. Maybe I should just read them first.
Boyer is what Scott is saying.
Boyer. Well, he can stay with Bradley P. Just like I call Denny V. That's the guy that directs Dune. Denny V. Because I say his name wrong every time. And even if I say it right, someone else will tell me I'm saying it wrong. So
that's fairness. Yeah, the thing with the first saga book, Saga of the Forgotten Warriors, the first 10 chapters kind of suck. And then it flips on its head. And then it's like, oh, okay. Like we're in for the ride.
I hear that a lot about a lot of fantasy, but like I heard that about Malice by John Gwynne. I heard that about a Blood and Fire by Ryan Kyle, and I'm like, this is just traditional fantasy setup for me. I like this stuff. So
no, that's exactly what it is. The first 10 chapters are just very tried and true, been here, done that, and then it does something interesting at about the 10 chapter mark and turns it on the head, and then it just takes off. Y'all are making me nervous about Lonesome Dove. I heard it was this beautiful story about these
it is. It's
people
emotional.
coming together, and
it's emotional, but holy shit, like every death will hit you. It will cut you bad. Like I'd seen the miniseries. I knew these characters' fates. And so I thought it isn't going about no, it's even more painful reading it because you're even more connected to them. You know, I know that miniseries is like 7 hours long, but this took me, 2 weeks to read. So I've been all, like just hanging out with these characters, which seems like 2 weeks in what we do, guys. 2 weeks to read a book's kind of long, So it's like I really do feel like I went from Texas to Montana with these characters, So when you lose one of them, it hurt, man. It hurt bad.
I spent 2 weeks with Wrathbringer this month because this one is just shy of 700.
Hey, I know he's in the chat, but don't be shy. Did you like it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I gave it 5 stars.
Alan would be proud of you.
5-star strumpet.
Hey, I gave Lonesome Dove 5 stars, and I never rate anything on Goodreads, but I was like, "Come at me, bros."
I definitely try and rate books the bare minimum, rate them on Goodreads, and then because I don't have the energy to do book
if it's
reviews
a less
for
popular
everything.
author, someone who's got like less than 1,000 ratings or something, I'll usually write a review for them and give it a star rating to help them out. But everything
that's a lot of
just
became,
I saw that you gave that book 3 stars. That must mean it sucks. I'm like, 3 out of 5 sucks now. That's like people say, like if a video game gets reviewed as a 7.5 out of 10, it's a bad score. I'm like,
man, I used to be like, if it was under 6, I wouldn't play the video game.
Sure, under 6, that makes a little more sense than a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10.
That means it's a solid game. It's not mind blowing, but
everybody cries about the rating system on Goodreads. So I just said I'm going to stop rating them.
Yeah.
If I want to talk about it, I've got a video on the channel. You can hear what I think about it without me giving it a star rating. So
yeah, that's fair. You been playing any good games? I saw you got the PS5.
Man, all I've been playing is Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda. Zelda reigns supreme in this house, and the problem is me and my wife, we played Breath of the Wild together. And so we were planning to do that again. But this time we thought, okay, well, we'll invite Brendan, my oldest son. We'll invite him into that little method we use. He's such a different style of player than us. He's speed run, do everything as fast as you can, go fight the hardest enemies with like 5 hearts. Whereas we're explorers, we do every nook and cranny. We explore everything. We make sure that we've got the appropriate amount of gear and stuff before we go into an area. He's not like that. So he finally started his own game. And so now we're having to split time between it. So it's going to take forever.
So he's going
to his grandma's this weekend, and we already told him you can't take the Switch. So I was like, look, I know it's yours, but we bought it. Tough shit. And I bought Zelda for you. So yeah.
I've been playing. I put 30 hours this last month into Hogwarts Legacy. It's because there's just so much.
That came out a week before, it was right before I got a PS5. So I still had to get I had to wait for the last gen version to come out, and it comes out a week before Zelda. And then I got sick that week, and I didn't feel like playing anyway. So I really haven't got to play it. But I did actually go ahead and upgrade to the PS5 version of Hogwarts Legacy. So
AR, you know what? You're in town, so why would we need to do a Kickstarter? Just come over and buzz my head. Just come on over. I'll get the clippers. We'll get this taken care of. Apparently, I need a haircut.
I don't think your hair is that long. I think mine's pretty long. So.
Oh yeah, you're about dreadlock period.
I tell you,
I
wish I'd done it sooner. Scott used to tell me forever, just shave your head, man. It's great. You don't have to worry about anything. It's like, man, I'm up and ready to go in 10 minutes in the morning. This is great.
I remember, like, for the longest time, you had it like right here, and you had that.
I had the Viking cut. Yeah, I had the Viking cut.
Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of hair product, and I don't like hair product.
You can be like Alan
and just
figure it out.
It was really just one of those things, like where I was just I mowed the lawn, and I was just it's so freaking hot in Houston, and you guys just don't understand that humidity here if you haven't lived in it. And I was just so hot. I took a shower, and I was still burned up. I said, screw it, I just buzzed it off, and I've loved it since then. It's like, cool. I'll keep it that way.
So every year, as soon as the weather starts to warm, off it goes.
So you like grow the beard for warmth during the winter, like a bear or something? Is it like your hibernation?
I mean, I live in Indiana, so we don't really get winters anymore.
That's too cold. It's too cold for me.
You know, it used to be. It used to be like winter was like negative 20 degrees for like 2 months. And
no, Philip, Mister, I've got like the perfect hair and the perfect jawline in here. Get out of here, Philip. God. He's got like that 2-day growth of beard going on. No,
the eternal, like, just beautiful haircut.
Right. You ever seen a video and been like, man, Philip should have really run a comb through his hair before this video? No, never.
That's true. He does always look put together. Yeah, even JR is jealous of his hair.
Did you read Way of Eden?
I have it right here.
That sounds like a no. That sounds like I read a self-published book before Andrew did. Boom!
That's right. But to be fair, like I got irritated because I bought it Amazon. Speaking of Amazon losing packages, Amazon lost it. I then had to cancel the order, reorder it. They took them a week to send it to me, and by that time, like, my TBR.
The thing is, when someone buys something off your wish list and sends it to you, it's anonymous. It's anonymous unless they send you a note. So if I have like the situation I've had where it gets lost, if that person doesn't contact me and tell me, yes, that was me, I sent that to you, I can't do anything about it. I can contact Amazon. They'll just be like, oh, tough shit. So it sucks. Like I said, because I'm pretty sure it's the same person that tried to buy me this book both times, because I'm pretty sure they bought me the other two that I didn't have. I bought Lonesome Dove, but they bought me the other two, and they wanted to complete the series, because the thing is like this, people have been pushing me to read this forever. Because they said, you are a character first guy, you're going to love Lonesome Dove. And they were like, we're so convinced you're going to love it, you're going to want to read the prequels and the sequel too. So they wanted to send them all to me. But yeah.
This has turned into everybody loves Philip Chase.
Who doesn't love Philip?
I mean, yeah. Look,
I'm waiting to see if my blurb makes the cut into Philip's next book. He did. I did provide a blurb. You get one blurb, and all of a sudden it's like a drug, man. You're just like, oh, I gotta get more of these. The problem is I rarely get a chance to read stuff before it comes out anymore, because either I'm fighting with the publisher to get a fucking review copy, or I run out of time. Like I really had planned to read that Will the Mini if I got on time, but it basically took the editor of Saga Press to contact me, be like, I have no idea what the problem is. I'll send you one immediately. And you know what's funny about it? They sent me two.
Is that why you're doing the giveaway?
Yeah, they sent me two, but I don't know. It's just a thing.
I got blurbed in Stephen Arian's new book.
Oh, nice.
And that was really cool.
How was Judas Blossom? It's got a nice cover.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
it's
pretty brutal. I saw the flyer that came with it had like a trigger warning in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you would consider it brutal. I think you would just consider it badass.
The thing is like stuff I consider brutal, and then Brent will talk about some of the stuff he reads, and I'm like, my shit's like PG. Goddamn. So he reads like Stephen Donaldson and stuff, and it's just like, that sounds too much, man. Yeah.
The what is it? Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, that stuff, Stephen R. Donaldson.
Do I consider anything brutal? Yes, AR. I consider a lot of things brutal, especially this. Yes. I think that Last War, Mike Shackle, was pretty damn dark. There's some stuff he does in that first book. I'm like, how did he get this past the editor? You know, like, how did he get away with this? You know?
My most favorite brutal book is right here.
I have it somewhere in here. I have it somewhere in here.
If you look right here, it's People Who May Die. That is the dramatis personae.
Nice.
Persona.
Yeah, well, we talk on Twitter a lot, but I haven't read the book yet. But it's in here somewhere. I have it in here in the room somewhere. He had book 2 of that's out, didn't it?
I think it's either out or it's out in like 9 or it's out in like 2 weeks. I think. Buzzard's Bowl. I've got an e-arc. I've got it pre-ordered on E, but I
didn't read the first one yet, so I don't think he's sending me the second one, which I can't blame him. I can't blame him.
He might. He's a really good dude.
No,
he's got his own channel too. Hot take discussions. John Palladino.
Yeah. God,
yes, it was a DNF in the beginning because of a trigger warning that I just had a kid, and that kind of hit me where I lived.
Yeah, some of those things definitely timing. Like I think about when I had my first kid, and all of a sudden stuff that never really bothered me before, all of a sudden I was like a big sack of tears. I still am. Like I remember I watched Field of Dreams when I was younger, and everybody's like, "Oh, that movie made me cry," and I'm like, "It's just a good baseball movie." I didn't really watch it after having kids. Complete mess. Watching it after having kids, mess. You know. So yeah, you change after you have kids. But with me and books, I'm like, yeah, I'll feel bad or whatever. I mean, shit, kids die in Lonesome Dove. I mean, I feel bad about it, but I don't. I can easily remind myself it's just a work of fiction, you know, unless it's historical fiction. That's like shit, you know. Maybe if I don't have to see it with my eyeballs, you know, I'm usually pretty good with it. I think this is going to sound so masochistic. I think I get bothered more about like dogs getting killed than I do people. So,
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Like, leave the dogs alone. Like, what do the dogs do?
No, Kellen, don't even talk about Where the Red Fern Grows. That is number 1 on my power rankings of books that make you cry. I can't even talk about that book without wanting to cry.
I don't know if I've read it.
They made us read that shit in 6th grade, man. The entire classroom, even the teacher was crying. They made us read that out loud. The whole room was crying. It's like, what are they doing to us, man?
Well, it sounds incredibly familiar. Oh, wait, did I read this?
Where the Red Fern Grows? Yeah, it's like one of the best coming-of-age stories ever. But I recommend not reading it if you know, because you'll be broken. You'll be broken forever.
Hold on, I'm on Amazon reading the blurb.
6th grade was a long time ago for me, man, and it still cuts. It still cuts today. So yeah,
I might be getting this mixed up with Shiloh, but what? No, go away, honey. It's stupid trying to give me coupons.
Yes,
on Amazon.
Brian. Yes, Brian. That is in the book. The only thing I think that's in the book that isn't in the miniseries is the grizzly bear part. That's about the only thing. Otherwise, I think it was a pretty faithful adaptation. Lonesome Dove, I'm talking about.
Yeah, Tiago's got 2 as well. 2?
Yeah, I see what Philip's saying. I'm a big old softy now. It's like anything. That's why I like created the hashtag dad shit, as I call it, because like I used to never be bothered by this stuff. Now it's anything to do with like a father and a son, or just parents and kids. I'm a mess. I'm a complete mess. It sucks, man. Kids, they ruin you.
What's weird is when like the kid is doing something cute, and usually I don't respond to cute stuff, and then like my kid starts doing something cute, and I'm just like,
yeah, right. I used to say it's like, I don't like kids. I mean, I like my kids, but I don't like anyone else's kids.
But like my son will do something like weird, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I gotta take a picture, and that's not me. Like, what's going on? Like,
before kids, you'd be like, oh god, what's my one friend who all they ever do is put Facebook pictures of their kid? Why don't you do something else? Then you do it. You get it. You don't get it until you have your own. You know?
Yeah, it's the worst. My daughter's got me completely wrapped around her finger.
That's why I'm glad I had 2 boys.
I've got one of each. One of each, and no more. No more, never again. Not doing it. I need my sleep.
Tell people all the time, man, kids are great. Don't have them.
Enemy of God, dad.
Oh, shit. Yeah, dad shit and enemy of God was fucking awful. It was just dreadful. Couldn't take it.
That's Warlord, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know what scene you're talking about. I was just like, I'm thinking of the right book, right?
Yeah, but where the red fern grows, like I said, putting that into your hand in 6th grade, I was like, what were they trying to do to us?
mean.
Were they trying to ruin us for life? So I think that's why I have the thing about dogs not making it that really just crushes me. So
I don't know. What are you currently reading now that you finished Lonesome Dove?
Of Darkness and Light, it's Bound and
Oh,
Broken
that's
too.
right. That's right. You told me that.
I'm gonna do that, and then I think I'm gonna do The Giver because everybody carries on about The Giver. Lois Lowry,
That's
never done it.
Lois. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's Lois
Never done
Lowry.
it before. Like even my wife freaked out when I told her I'd never read that. So, hey,
I haven't read it.
I hadn't read The Outsider either, so I was like, okay, at least I can mark these two off my list this year.
I did read The Outsider. I distinctly remember having to look up what a heater was, because of The Outsiders. Like I was just like, what the crap is a heater? Like I was like, the way they're describing it, I know it's a gun, but is it a type of gun? Like, because like in the '90s, no, what was it? Early 2000s. Like if you say, yeah, he pulled out a heater, and I'm just like, what? He pull out like a hair dryer, or like what's going that's the one thing I remember distinctly about The Outsiders, and a couple really messed up scenes.
Go read To Kill a Mockingbird. You might have to Google a couple things to understand what the hell they're talking about. If you're not from the Southeast,
I read that one 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah, it's a great book.
So,
great book.
Yeah, everybody says that they love The Giver.
Yeah, I've had people telling me that like they've read it, so many years ago, and it's still in their head. And like I said, my wife like freaked out about it. And I looked at, I was like, dude, it's like 160 pages. Like I can read this in a day. So I think I want to do that after I finish this Kyle book and start The Expanse.
I 100% when I first heard The Giver, I thought it was The Giving Tree. I was like, why is everyone talking about The Giving Tree?
The thing was, like, I've heard of Gathering Blue. That's the sequel to The Giver. I've heard of that before, but I felt like I'd never heard of The Giver. Now I hear about it everywhere all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So
apparently everybody's read it except me. Oh, that one will do it. I mean, that one used to choke me up when I was a kid. That one's got something
every
for all
time,
ages.
guaranteed. This was even before kids. Every time the music and there's stay. Oh my god, I don't even talk about. Yeah, ET will get me every time, man. Every time. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. First movie I ever saw in the movie theater, and I'm pretty sure I've cried every single time I watched it. Yeah.
I don't know what the first movie I saw was. I remember distinctly seeing Forrest Gump.
I was about to say, you're going to name some movie that came out like when I was like 25 or something was your first movie in the theater. I'm going to feel even older than I already do.
I mean, you're only, what, 10 years older than me?
Yeah, I turned 45 in August, so yeah.
Okay, so you're 11 years older than me. Why did I think you just turned 43?
I don't know, but I wish you were right.
I don't know. I'm not paying attention. But yeah, I also remember seeing Spawn in theaters, which my aunt shouldn't have done that.
Get this, my 11-year-old's like, hey, did we get John Wick 4 yet? So when it came on digital yesterday, he's like, let's do it. John Wick 4. Yeah, I've let my kid watch John Wick movies. I let my kid watch Terminator movies. Yeah. To me, it depends on the kid. It depends on the kid.
I remember at one point, my mom's best friend's husband, like, I didn't have a dad figure growing up, and so he wanted to kind of step in. And so he's like, hey, I'm going to rent a PS2. You're going to come over, we're going to spend the night. We're going to just junk food, just have a guy's night. And like, he was just like, is there any movie you want to watch? And I had just heard around school, Little Nicky. And he was like, okay. And he's like, don't tell your mom. Like,
I always feel like you can judge someone's age by saying, hey, what was the first gaming console that you had or played? Or what was the one?
N64.
See, yeah. Atari. So yeah.
My cousins had a Super Nintendo. So I grew up playing Super Nintendo, but I think the console that I first gamed on, like gamed, was the N64. But I mean, my cousins had everything. They had Nintendo, Super Nintendo. They had the Game Boy cartridges that would fit on top of the Super Nintendo, so you could play your Game Boy on the Super Nintendo.
Game Boy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Super Game Boy. That's what it's called.
Because that's back when the Game Boy was still a black and green screen, and you had to have like perfect light to actually see it, while it was draining the juice of 8 batteries. Yeah.
I used to think I was so cool when like I'd get like a thing that would like this big bulky thing that would snap onto the Game Boy and it would like shine light like kind of shitty onto the screen so you could kind
GameCube.
of see a
Ryan,
little
are
better.
you even younger than I thought you were? GameCube? When did that come out? 2003 or 4? Jesus. All right.
Yeah, GameCube came out in the 2000s, I think. Or 99? I think it came out in 99.
No.
GameCube release date.
I'm
We're
saying
gonna look this up.
2002. 2002.
2001.
Because I was working in a game store at that time. Because I remember when the release, because that was back, believe it or not, guys, that's back when Nintendo was kind of on life support. They were really struggling there for a minute. And it was like, it came out like the same time as like the Xbox, and everyone was getting the Xbox, and like everyone was like worried they weren't gonna be able to get a GameCube. Like you come in the store the first day and buy GameCubes, like they weren't all like sold out. So Nintendo was struggling. It was actually the Wii. The Wii is what brought Nintendo back. Now they're handheld; they still dominate the handheld market. But as far as consoles, like Nintendo was on the ropes there. They were considering becoming a developer for a minute because their console sales were doing so bad. Little tidbit there for you.
I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with the Switch 2.
We really like the Switch. The Wii U was a disaster, but we really like the Switch.
I don't have a Switch. I don't have a Wii. Well, I had a Wii. I never had a GameCube. I did have an N64. And the N64 for me was the bee's knees right up until Xbox and PS2. Or Xbox and PS1? No, because PS1 came out in the 90s.
Yeah, I was out of gaming really, and then Final Fantasy VII came out on the PlayStation 1, and that was in '98, I think. So that's when I got back into, because I was out. You know, my Super Nintendo was like packed up in the closet like on a Foot Locker, and I wasn't even touching it anymore. You know,
so. I mean, I just came back from a 2.5-year hiatus.
Like, I still take long breaks, but Zelda's like a religion in this household. Like when the new Zelda game comes out, that's why I'll never be able to leave Nintendo. Every time I'm mad at Nintendo, I can't ever leave because Zelda's just been my. I mean, that's one of the things that birthed my love for fantasy was Legend of Zelda. You know, so
I love. To me, the most best is Ocarina.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
I've always loved Ocarina. Like I went specifically and bought a 3DS for the remaster of Ocarina, and then when I was done with it, I sold the console.
Wow. Okay.
But like I had no interest in Majora's Mask. It was always Ocarina of Time.
Oh, Majora's Mask. I don't get it. I don't get the love for that. You know, I love Zelda, but that one was just strange. And they took like a big old acid hit and said, "What can we do with the system that we are? Or what can we do with the gaming system that we already have set up? You know, the what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever, the same design they have for Ocarina of Time. Like, what can we do with that same model? Let's just take a big old bump of acid and see what we come up with. How about a moon with a giant face on it that crushes you, and you just have to keep reversing time over and over again? Yeah, sounds good. Pass the doobie. You know, that's what they felt like to me.
Twilight Princess was good too. I remember playing Twilight Princess.
That a lot. Yeah,
it was a bit of a nightmare with the nunchucks.
I played it on the did I play on the Wii? No, I think we played on the GameCube. Was it on the GameCube?
Was it?
I want to say it was because I hated the Wii. I hate motion controls. I hate them. Just give me a damn controller and let me play the game. I hate motion controls. So I never really clicked with the Wii system. Outside of like a baseball or a golf game, I was like, I don't want to play with motion controls. And I remember I was so mad I didn't get to finish the Metroid Prime trilogy because they only released it on the Wii with those damn controls. So yeah, there's that.
I don't know. I've currently got my PS5 up there. I've got
Wind Waker was cool. Wind Waker is one of those, like, I hated the design. Like when I was so mad about the design, I wanted to make it look more realistic and cooler and not look like a cartoon. But then I played it, I was like, damn, this is addictive. And then they made Twilight Princess right after, which is exactly what I wanted them to do. So it's fine with me. Yeah, I mean, like everybody craps on Skyward Sword, but I'm like, look, I mean, even like the worst Zelda games better than most other franchises' best games. So yeah, I'm fine with it. They try to do something different. Like a lot of people who don't like Breath of the Wild, I thought was amazing, and Tears of the Kingdom might be better.
I've only played about 35 minutes of Breath of the Wild.
You're lucky. You're lucky you wouldn't be putting out any videos because it would take over your life if you really got into it. Yeah.
I'm lucky to still be putting out videos as is. Like I've been just I have no desire to do book reviews right now. like video book reviews. Like if I do one, I have to love the book. And
I
I
think
have to
back
be
to when I used to review everything that I read, and I was
I
like,
can't do it.
well, it's not that. Just like there's like people tell me like they're least interested in the videos are in my channel that they're least interested in are just standard book reviews now. You know, because they don't want me to do spoilers because they haven't read it yet, but they don't want me to do spoiler free because reasons. And I'm just like, there's just no happy medium there. So.
Yeah, so what I'm starting to notice is this trend of people just wanting you to tell them to just go buy the book or to stay away from the book. Like that's what they want. They want you to break it down on why you should buy it, why you shouldn't, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I guess.
Which is, I mean, I never think my book reviews are super detailed. Like I was
because I do
like, oh, you gotta
non-spoiler. And that's the thing is like I'll get accused of not reading the book because I do a spoiler-free review for it, and I'm like, man, I got too much time in my hands to pretend that I'm reading a book here. I don't have enough time to pretend that I'm reading a book. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. You know,
I don't have a, I don't have an under like nobody's said that to me yet. Like that's silly.
I mean, it's one or two comments out of thousands. You know, so I mean, it's not. It's not anything I'm like, you know, taking to heart, but I'm just like, would you really believe that I would actually do a review for something I didn't read? I don't know. Too much of
one of the interesting things that I find about book reviews is that like I can like post a book review and it will bomb upon release, and then I'll come back to it like a year later and it's like 3,000 views.
Sometimes that happens, and other times, like I found it weird with the Stephen King stuff. Is you would think pretty popular author, but I also think that the most of the audience that reads Stephen King stuff, they aren't really booktubers. You know, they don't really watch for stuff like that. They're a little older. At least that was my theory for a while. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have on like a seriously popular book like Pet Sematary, and it doesn't do that great. Then I'll put out Bag of Bones. A Bag of Bones does really well. I'm like, I don't even understand.
You know what I think it is? Because this is where I'm at with Bag of Bones. It's everybody like has seen Bag of Bones because it's not one of the famous books. They want somebody to talk about it to see if it's worth it because it's not one of King's famous.
Like, I don't know. It's not always the case. No one watched the Rose Madder review. So I don't know. My Stephen King stuff is so hit or miss. Like one will come out on 10,000 views in the first like 3 days, and then another one will come out, and I'm lucky to get 2,000. You know, it's weird.
My short that is my top 3 Stephen King is my highest viewed video on my channel. It's at like 15,000. Which
I love it. I've got a short that's got like 30,000 views, and I've actually lost 2 subscribers on it.
I made like 30 subscribers,
and I made like 68 cents off of it. So there we go.
Yeah, shorts do not pay at all.
I was like, that's why they push them. They push them so bad because they don't have to pay us anything for them, you know. So
yeah, I do have to thank you for bringing me back to Stephen King because I was on a 10-year, maybe 12-year hiatus from King. And the last thing I'd read was in college, and I think it was The Shining or something like that.
What book got you back in?
Oh God, I think it was The Dark Tower, The Stand. I don't know. I couldn't pinpoint. I picked King back up because you were like doing all these King novels, and I think I initially watched your you were doing the different seasons breakdown. I think that's your first multiverse video that I tuned into, and I was just like, I should try King again. I still haven't read different seasons.
But you know, Jonathan, I see your comment. I saw you put it earlier too. I feel like I should know Bookish Drummer because apparently him and I have like nearly identical opinions on a lot of things, and I know he's a big.
We did his tag,
but I just don't think we've interacted very much. It's weird how that works. I think he's actually on my Discord. Oh,
yeah, he's in my Discord as well. He's one of my moderators. I talk trash to Jake all the time. Jake can just take all sorts of abuse. We just constantly harass each other for no reason. Like it'll just be like one of those like knock on the screen, throw up a middle finger, and walk away.
I have those. Well, people like that, as I tell them, hey, you know what? Reach out to me. I'll come on your channel. And, you know, that doesn't worry about any logistics. Because the thing with like talk about nothing is, guys, I have an invite list that's like 20 deep, and I only do one of those a month. So it'll be a while before I would actually be able to do that, especially now that I'm upping up how many authors I'm going to be interviewing here pretty soon.
How stoked are you? Because I mean, you've got Pierce Brown, you got like 4 coming up, and I didn't memorize.
Yeah, Pierce Brown, Ryan Cahill, Mike Shackle, and James Islington. Yeah,
Ryan will have you in stitches.
Yeah, we talk constantly, like just through messaging. It's hilarious, and I finally just like was picking his brain about how he seemed to like crack that code of self-publishing. It seems like that like only him and Rob J. Hayes have been able to do, and just some of the stuff he was telling me that he does. I'm like, man, we should get on and talk about this for sure. Yeah, and it's gonna be fun. I can't wait. It's an awesome guy.
We're part of a whiskey like booktubers group, and we've done 2 live shows now where basically we just hop on, drink whiskey, and just talk smack. And he's always just hilarious. Like, do you know who Jacksepticeye is? Are you aware of Jack?
Is that an author?
No, Jacksepticeye is a gamer. He's a video game content creator in Ireland, and he's one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform. He's got, I think, 60 million subscribers or something like that.
60 million.
Wow.
Okay.
Like he gets to interview Ryan Reynolds like when the Deadpool movies come out and stuff like that. Like he's up there with Markiplier. He's friends with Markiplier. And like at one point I was just sitting there in a live show and I was talking to Ryan. I'm like, you remind me of Jacksepticeye. He goes, who the crap is that? And I'm like, never mind. But Jack is somebody did a music video of him. I'll send it to you later. It's hilarious.
Well, you guys got room at the table. I'll join one of these whiskey get drunks things and then find out if my channel gets booted the next day. I would love to. Yeah.
I'll bring it up to, because so far it's PL Stewart, Crystal Matar, Ryan Cahill, me. Then there's Made Between the Pages. I'm forgetting somebody.
It's another one that I see a lot, but I don't think we've ever really interacted. Made Between the Pages. She's
based out of Japan, so it's really kind of hard to make the time zones match up. So she lives with her husband in Japan, and she just had a kid too.
Yeah. I sent her congratulations on the Twitter the other day.
Yeah, Shot is correct. Ryan is absolutely. Oh, Jaden's saying Jacksepticeye is a Dune proponent.
I like him already. Someone who people ask me all the time, why isn't your channel as big as Man Carrying Thing? And I was like, I fucking wish I knew. Because I was like, I don't feel like that guy does anything I can't do. What's he doing right that I'm not?
It's got to be the drunk, disheveled look. Like I have
no idea. It's like a lot of these
and
things,
it's like short form content.
Bigger content creators. I'm like, a lot of these I'll look at and be like, okay, I'm not gonna do all these special effects. I'm not gonna do all the super editing and all that stuff. But when someone who's just a fixed camera angle, just talking about, I'm like, they're not doing anything I don't do. I don't understand. But I think what's he got, like 500,000 subs? Oh.
Is that where he's up to?
Man, I don't know. I might be exaggerating.
Is he bigger than he became friends with Daniel Green.
I'll get you there, I guess.
He did a couple
264. All right.
Okay.
I thought it was more.
I like Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark and Baker's are some of my favorites.
It's going to sound really lame, but I love Wild Turkey and Jack Daniels.
Wild Turkey is also really good.
Hard to go.
Rare breed.
The Wild Turkey honey is like, oh my god, so good. But there's like some of these Maker's Mark's really good. And if you're really broke, there's this stuff called Evan Williams. It's really freaking good. It sounds ridiculous, bottom shelf, but it's really freaking good. We used to drink that a lot when we were broke.
They've got Evan Williams has got like an 1863? It's like a single barrel, and it's like
what was that one that I was having with a friend of mine? He got a promotion. He wanted me just to come over and kill a bottle with him, and I think you were the one who like responded like, "That's really good stuff." I forget what it was, but it was damn good. It's about something reserved. It's like $60 a bottle. It's really good.
I do like Maker's Mark 46. It's got the French oak staves, I think is what that one is. What is Jack Daniels?
What's that Irish whiskey I used to have way back in the day? God, I can't even remember anymore. I used to drink whiskey like crazy before acid reflux destroyed my throat. Yeah.
Angel's Envy is also a really, really good one. My local Target, I was at Target earlier today, and they had a single barrel release but it was like $90. I'm like, there's no way I'm dropping $90 on a bottle of booze right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, here's the thing: is like after I ketoed, I stopped really boozing very much, like at all, and I still to the day don't really do it very much because I get drunk really quick now, like really quick. I used to have all of the resistance in the world to alcohol, and now 2 shots, and I'm like, woo, let's go down the street naked. I went over to a friend's house to watch the U of H game in the playoffs in the March Madness tournament, and I took 5 beers, thought it'd be no big deal, had 1 shot with him over there and mixed it with the beer, and I don't even remember coming home. I mean, I walked. He's down the street, but I don't even remember it. I remember my wife coming and putting a washcloth on my neck while I was hugging the toilet. That's what I remember. So I was like, 5 beers and a shot really get you there now? So it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to my Irish blood that I'm a lightweight now. So keto it'll thin your blood out to where you can't take any alcohol anymore.
It was funny. I used to make my own beer. I used to be a home brewer. I used to go to all the craft brewers in Indiana. We had back when I was going around, we had at least 85 different breweries. And I was like a known name. I'd walk in and they'd be like, "Hey, what's up, Andrew?" At least 6 of them. So I was way into the craft beer scene. And then my uncle died because he was the one I used to do that with. And so I kind of stopped and chilled out a little bit. And then I did keto for a little bit. And then I had my kids, and it just...
You don't weigh 97 pounds. What are you doing keto for?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm 100 and I think 75 right now. I haven't weighed myself. But
how tall are you?
5'8", 5'9".
Oh, okay. You're a midget. Never mind.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yep. They are. Sun King is the biggest brewery in Indiana, and then Upland's also really good. But now whenever I drink a beer, I've got this milk stout. I drank one 2 weeks ago, and I was good to go, no hangover. I woke up and I couldn't breathe. I was so congested and just I had a headache. And I was just like, what happened? Why did I wake up feeling like trash? It wasn't until 1 o'clock. I was like, I had a beer last night.
Yeah.
A beer.
I used to used to be Irish blood. I could drink we go tailgating and we'd be drinking for 14 hours and I'd be fine. Now 5 beers in a shot wipes me out.
I've never been blackout. Never been blackout.
I want to say it was blackout or I was going out and stealing cars and, flipping off cops or something like that. But I mean, I just I don't remember walking home. I remember I was watching the game, talking to my friend about the next Red Rising book. And the next thing I remember, I'm hugging the toilet. So at my house. So,
yeah. Well, at least you were in your house.
Yeah.
I think the close, I think what really turned me off of drinking is we had a mead fest here. Oh, I'm going to say it was 2018, early 2019, before everything shut down. And I went a little too hard because it was unlimited, all you could drink. I had to have my Uber pull over so I could puke out of the car. And then when I got home, the entire house was just spinning. And that really put me off of drinking for a long time.
Yeah, I can count on one hand how many times I drink per year now. And when I get sick after one, I'm just I'm not doing it anymore at all. And I just really just stick to seasonal. There's a holiday seasonal here from the big the big craft breweries out here, Shiner Beer and in St. Arnold, and they'll put out their holiday stuff, and I'll get their Shiner Holiday Cheers, terrific. And just year round, they have this thing called Art Car, which is just an IPA. Which I know people have hot takes about IPA. You either love them or you hate them. After I lost a lot of weight, I couldn't drink the stouts, porter, lager, all that stuff anymore. I couldn't do it anymore. So I had to learn to love the grapefruit and drink some IPA, and then I got hooked on it. But now it's no, I'll just have a Coke. That's me being bad. I'll just have a Coke, or put a little Wild Turkey in my Coke Zero. There you go. Boom.
I forgot. Brent must be local to me. because that's literally right down the street from
Yeah, I
where I
think
live.
you, Brent, and they are all within like throwing distance of each other.
Yeah. I've been to Scarlet Lane multiple times when they first opened up. They've got
You
a
should go play pool.
barbecue.
You should go play pool with Brent and live vlog it. Live vlog it. Yeah.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
that
With
I
shots.
used to hustle pool. I used to hustle pool at bars, but
Yeah.
I haven't shot pool in probably oh god since my 20s at the very latest.
Yeah, I'm not a real big go outer anymore myself. You know, I mean,
Yeah, you're lucky
reader.
if I if you can get me out of the house. My best friend lives an hour away. We see each other maybe once a quarter.
Bo, I
Once a quarter.
appreciate that, but it's too cold, man. And anything above like the Mason Dixon lines is too cold for me, man. Just
Listen, if you're gonna make me come to South Dakota, Bo, you're one round is not enough.
yeah.
You're paying for the night. Yeah, tracks. That's what it. Yeah, he. Okay, fair enough. I live in Fishers, which is like adjacent to McCordsville. They butt up to each other, so it's.
Well, unlike most people in Texas, I'm not gonna get all elitist about the barbecue. Barbecues here is good. I've had Southeast barbecue; it's good. With me, it's like I don't get really.
like
I've only really
barbecue.
had Southern barbecue, so I assume that's what it's supposed to taste like. I'm not one of those who's like, yeah, anything that you're having, if it's above Missouri, it's nasty. You know? Even
I
if it
don't
makes you
get.
happy. I've never understood hot takes on food. It's
I don't
not
understand
your
the
mouth.
pizza
It's not your
wars.
taste buds. Who cares what someone else is eating?
I don't understand the pizza wars, the hot dog wars, the barbecue
Oh my
wars.
God. Every single day, someone around here is fighting about what burger place is the best. And I'm like, who cares? Eat what makes you happy. Christ. What is the best
Eat
city in
what's not
Texas?
going to make you sick.
Not Austin. Not Austin.
I've only ever been to Houston, so and that was the my buddy married into oil money, and so he was just
Wow.
like,
I live here and I couldn't even do that. I had to marry a teacher.
well, apparently she came to school here in Indiana for some reason, and they met here, and he married into the family, and he was like, oh yeah, it's going to be at my in-laws house, but that's in Houston, and you're in the wedding party, and I was like, okay, I'll be there. I pull up to the house, and I was just like I wasn't expecting it. And so like he's like, yeah, this is my in-laws house. I'm like, what do you mean this is your in-laws house? Like it's one of those things where like to get to you have to like go down 3 flights of stairs to get to the other half of the house because you got to go outside through the pool, and like they've got his father-in-law had his own like racing Porsche. And I was just like, what the crap? Like he was showing us the office, and he was like, yeah, I had a shaman touch the tree and then tell me what the tree wanted to be, and it wanted to be a desk. And I was like, how much did that cost? And he was just like, oh, I think somewhere around 25,000. I was just like, we can't converse. We're not the same kind of people.
No.
I can't fathom that amount of wealth.
You know the food war that's always confused me the most?
What?
Pineapple pizza. People get freaking angry about pineapple pizza one way or the other. And I'm just like, you're not eating it. What do you care? I've never
I
understood
was
this one.
given pineapple pizza at a young age. Like I'm talking like 9 or 10. So before the pineapple war started, I was already eating the stuff. And so like I think my cousin bought it one day, and when you're 10 years old, pizza is pizza.
Yeah.
So I ate it, and I developed a taste for it. But recently, there's a Donato's down the street from my house that I was just like, I'm feeling a Hawaiian right now. I bought the Hawaiian and I threw it out. It was so they like put like weird seasonings on it. Like
What the fuck you talking about, Dan? Canned spaghetti on pizza? What the
what?
hell?
What?
Freaking New Zealanders. Freaking hobbits. You hobbits will eat anything.
I'm gonna have to ask Derry about this.
With me, the pineapple's like my favorite fruit. You know, I love pizza. Who doesn't? I've just never actually tried it.
I don't
kids.
go
All
out
I
of
want
my
is cheese
way.
pizza, so it's we don't get a lot of options here.
I'm a meat eater. I love the meat lovers pizza.
We
That's my
will get
favorite.
cheese pizza for them, and we'll add our own toppings here. You know, we're carnivores, so we've got all types of meat. We just add our own here. But yeah.
Derek.
I said people they're like they're ready to like, okay, let's meet out in the street and settle this. They're like, pull up. I was like, man, it's not that big of a deal, guys. I mean, people get mad.
It's not something I'm gonna go out of my way to eat.
It's like
But
me
if
going
it's
on
there,
Ryan's server and on day one almost breaking it just because he had a question. Ask Ryan, Kyle, ask him anything, and I just said, "Is a hot dog a sandwich?" And that started a big old war. I was like, "Wow, I broke his Discord on my first comment." Yeah, so
well, your next one should be is cereal a soup.
cereal a soup. Okay. That's the other
Just,
day. I was
just
like, how come when you're eating soup, they say you're eating soup, but if you're taking a drink, you're not eating your drink, you're drinking your drink. But you can also drink your soups. Does that mean you're not eating your soup? Does that mean you drink your soup? Yeah. So,
oh god.
yeah, I love to break my kids' minds with questions like these.
There's a bunch of those. Like, is water wet?
Yeah. Oh no! You ain't really get your kids' minds going. Ask them if the glass is half full or half empty. Woo boy!
Oh,
The thing was, my two kids disagreed on that. So,
how did they?
yeah, so I started
You
a little
got two
land war.
different kids according to a psychologist.
It was like tearing another like one that kind of tore the house apart was like when you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Do you peanut butter both sides, both pieces of bread, and then add the jelly, or do you just do peanut butter on one side and jelly on the other side? That was tearing our house apart for a little bit.
Was it? See, here's I put the peanut butter on. If there's stuff left on the knife, I'm not gonna lick the knife. I'm just gonna put the remainder on the other piece and then add the jelly.
There's an art to it for sure. It's just not the conversations that people probably tuned in for, but hey, you got young kids. These are just the things that come up. But yeah, no, Dan, no one is Googling spaghetti and pizza now. It's just weird. Look,
No,
I like spaghetti. I like pizza. Just never canned spaghetti. That's I don't know.
It tastes it tastes too metallic.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is called Wizardly Ramblings, so we are rambling. But I mean, so technically, maybe they did tune in for this.
What are you reading this month? What are you reading in as Richard Swan would call it, June? What are you reading in June?
So June, I got my allocations for Spiffbo. I've got a video coming out for those, but so I won't talk about those quite yet. But I am reading a Rob J. Hayes book, Titan Hoppers. My patrons selected me to read that one.
I got sent 2 of those books in the mail. No note. I actually messaged Rob J. Hayes today. He's like, were these from you? He's like, nope. So no idea who sent those. I don't know. I want to be like, is it a publisher? I'm like, it can't be. He's self-published, right?
Yeah. Then I got Doom McKee. Madison is making me read Doom McKee.
Well, you should read Doom McKee. It's an amazing book. I love how Madison has people believing now that you should read Stephen King. Thanks, guys. No, I'm not really sure about what this Mike guy says. Oh, what Madison said? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, so we were part of the Keymark readathon, one of the first ones, and she won. Her team won, and there was a bet that she could choose any book, and so like she called in her chit, and she was like, hey, we were talking. I was talking about the Green Mile, and I don't think she'd read the Green Mile yet, or she had just read it and really loved it. Either way, she was like, we should do a Stephen King exchange, and I was like, you should read Needful Things. So she did, and then I said I couldn't get to her pick until June, so we've got this one, City of Last Chances, which this book has no right being this gorgeous.
Right. I like the edges. Yeah.
Technology is magic at this point. I've heard great things. Evie wants me to read that. We've got Battle Mage by Stephen Arion. And then I got a couple sequels that I got to get to because I just started Curse of the Fallen by H.C. Newell. Of course, I've got a bunch of self-pub to read. But I've got the sequel, which is Forbidden Realms. And then Divinity's Twilight Remnant, which is a brick.
Looks like it. All right.
But
does that include audio? You got anything you're audioing only?
No, I'm doing probably 5 on audio and I'm doing 6 on audio and 4 in physical. Yeah. In order to get, and I'm also probably going to do Mother of Learning Arc 3. Because I've been really enjoying the progression fantasy stuff. I know it's not your thing, But yeah, Mother Learning has been an interesting experience, especially with all the twists that it has recently done.
So here Andrew's going to mention all these like self-pub or indie authors, and I'm going to be like, okay, well I'm going to read this AAA author. I'm going to read this. Well, the
I mean,
Will the
I've
Many.
got King in there. I got King and Tchaikovsky in there.
All right. I Will the Many, James Islington. That's after like Haney, as I said, I was going to read anything he did next. Getting back on the Expanse, talked about the Exile. Actually, we'll be doing the Call Hill before I get to the Big Daddy. That's just his
Oh,
novella,
I've got that one.
like 2.5. I already mentioned The Giver. Getting to the Rain Wild Chronicles, which I know everybody has all kinds of opinions about.
I hate the Rain Wild Chronicles.
I hear that reaction much more than the other one. And Red Sister by Mark Lawrence, which I'm still just one of those things. I'm just not sure that Mark Lawrence is an author for me, even though I've only read, just that first trilogy. But
he may not be the author for you, but I will say in tone, in theme, Red Sister is entirely different than Broken Empire.
Well, that's good news. Reading the synopsis, it sounds a lot like Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, which I really did like. So
I haven't read that. The one thing that bugs me about Book of the Ancestor is everyone's like, "Oh, they're assassin nuns. They're assassin nuns." No, they're not.
That's like people who go into Farseer and expecting to be assassin books. Like, not really.
In order to be assassin nuns, you have to do one thing. You have to actually go assassinate somebody,
or be a nun.
Well, I mean, they are nuns, but they're warrior nuns. Just because they know how to fight and be sneaky doesn't make them assassins. They're warriors. But Nona is interesting. She's kind of an autistic protagonist. She trusts very deeply. She loves very hard, and it's almost impossible to break that bond with her. So I'll be interested to see what you think of Nona.
Well, very good. Like on paper, it checks out that I should be a big Mark Lawrence fan. It really does. So, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I DNF'd Red Queen's War. I almost, if I hadn't been so deep into Emperor of Thorns, where is it? Emperor of Thorns. I would have DNF'd that. That had a scene in there that I just rolled my eyes.
I tapped out in that book. Yeah, I was just like, I don't like Jorg like at all. Like I just want him to die, and I'm like, I don't think that's really what Mark Lawrence was probably going for. So I was like, man, it's probably just not for me. Sad that it took me 2.5 books of a trilogy to realize that.
I mean, I can message you the end later if you really want.
Don't even care.
Yeah. It does have an interesting end, but it tried Red Queen's War. Like it was like, oh, here's another protagonist, and he's completely different to Jorg, but he's gonna bump into Jorg, and it's just like I don't care.
That's what everybody told me. I think they said try Book of the Ancestor. It's a different universe. And yeah.
I've got his Book of Ice right here, which is set on the same world as Book of the Ancestor. So Tiago got me those when my son was born.
And Mark Lawrence writes, he's prolific, man. I think he puts out a book every year, don't he?
Just about. He's also got a series that nobody ever talks about. They're really short books.
Impossible Times.
Yeah. Impossible Times. I just need a nap. I don't know when that was, but.
Oh, I thought she said book titties. I was like, what in the world is she talking about? Titties. And how do I get some? Yeah, no, Ryan. From what I got out of those Cradle books, I was like, dude, this is like when I was playing Final Fantasy III, or it's become known as 6 now, but it was Final Fantasy III when it was first released in the States on the Super Nintendo. And I had to grind to get to level 99 of experience. That's what it reminded me of. Writing a book about doing that. That's what Cradle felt like to me. Just
Darius yelling at me. Yeah. I mean, hey, usually I try and call Mike's taste in books, and I get it wrong 80% of the time. Okay. So, I mean, Mike's gonna like what he likes. If he likes Red Wild, cool.
I said I'm kind of going into it like I did with Crossroads. When you first started reading Wheel of Time, everyone was like, "Oh my god, look out for Crossroads of Twilight! It's so terrible." And so I just kind of went into it expecting that, and I was like, I think Path of Daggers was worse than this. You guys didn't say shit about that one. You know, so with this, I think I'm going into it just expecting the worst. One thing I'll say about them is at least they're shorter. At least they're short. At least they're not like live ship in length.
No, that's true. You'll get through. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. You definitely. Yeah, I'm behind on the comments, but I'm getting Jalen sucked, and yeah, he wasn't that interesting.
What's Jalen in? What series is that?
Oh, that's right, Queen's War.
Ah.
He's the protagonist. Have you had a chance to read the new Dragonlance? I have not. I actually just saw it on the shelf at Target today, and I walked right by it.
Yeah, I used to go to every single time I had a chance to go to a bookstore. Now I'm just like, I don't even want to go in, man. I've got so much stuff to read. I have no room for it. But yeah, I mean, I still buy 2 or 3 books a month, because
usually when I'm going to a bookstore these days, I'm like taking in a stack and walking out with a smaller stack. And then like my Amazon orders are still rolling in, which means I have to go back in with another stack, leave with it. It's just a vicious cycle. The reason I had to do, I've actually got another unhaul filmed. I edited it today, where I listed probably another 15 books, 3 body problems in there. What else is in there that would get people to yell at me? Oh, there's something in there that people are going to yell at me about. But it's because I bought like 30 books this last month, and it's just ridiculous. I was trying to fill in gaps in my collection, and before I knew what had happened.
Oops.
Oops.
I have not read anything by J.A. Conrath yet. Never heard of this person.
I've not.
You're correct. New Jedi Order is amazing.
Yeah,
if you guys don't like the way that Disney's treated Star Wars, go back and read the EU books, Legends as they call them now.
Yeah,
that's what you wanted.
Yeah. Where the EU started losing me, the original EU, which it didn't lose me, but it was hard to swallow, was when they introduced the Yuuzhan Vong.
Oh well, that's when I thought it was great. I was tired of the Empire.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong, it was interesting, but like
at this point, the Empire was just like after Vader, after Thrawn, the Empire was just like slipping on a banana peel at this point. It was like, you guys are never going to win. So like they introduced like a new character, they depowered the Jedi a little bit that way, and it made it actual like consequences. They kill a legacy character first book, which I talked to Ari Salvatore about, and says he still gets hate mail for that still today. Even though it was
if you're gonna do it, crash a planet.
He told me about that is like when he said, okay, we want you to write this book and want you to kill this character. And he was like, so who do I return the check to? They told him he had to do that. But to me, that just showed it was different. And I don't know. I liked it because I felt like I had grown up and it felt like Star Wars was growing up with me. But I know a lot of my friends, they were like, they're killing off characters and stuff now. It's not what I'm here for with Star Wars. I'm like, I get it. So.
You can remind me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you ever got this far, but in the time of like Darth Talon and stuff like that, Cade Skywalker is living in an empire, right?
I don't remember this at all. So
Cade is Luke's great grandson.
I read through Legacy of the Force and read Fate of the Jedi.
These were Legend comics. So
the only comic I ever read was Dark Empire. That was the only Star Wars comic I ever read.
Okay.
Which like non-canonized.
I think it's like
4 years we bought them. It wasn't canon anymore.
It's like 90 to 120 years post Luke Skywalker or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Just don't Google Darth Talon in front of your wife.
All right.
she's a red Twi'lek. Let's see. Okay, so there's that J.A. Conrath.
Did you get that Gregory Contaxis? Did you get his book?
Yeah, I got it right here.
That's really sexy. It's a really sexy naked hardcover. I really did like that. Yeah.
Mine's the paperback because I'm not that cool.
Oh, no shit, huh? All right. Well, I'm telling you, you probably got a better chance of Andrew reading it before me. So I
was actually going to read it in June, and then I had to shift my schedule because I was part of Team Bookborn, and he's entered into Spiffbo, but on somebody else's team. And I had to read my allocations for my team. I think it's by the end of August. And so that's 6 books that I've got to read and cycle in with what I'm already doing. And so I just kind of put a pause on my review copies because that was sent to me pre-release. And so I was going to read it, but it is currently on pause.
I've just been telling everybody that messages me about a review, I'm like, I'm not making any promises. If you want to send it to me, I never say never. But it's not going to cut to the front of the line, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm to the point now where it was funny. I had an author message me. The book sounded awesome. He was like, "Hey, can I send you a review copy?" I was like, "Your book sounds awesome. I just pre-ordered the ebook, but I can't put it, like, I can't accept review copies right now because I've got 30."
I told him, I was like, I can't promise you I'll review it or even get to it. I mean, like I said, look, I just read it took me 2+ years to read Mike Shackle's book. I mean, so it's never a thing where I'm like, oh yeah, you can send it to me. I'm never going to read it, but you can send it to me. It's just like, I can't promise you, I don't think I'm ever going to stop reading. And I imagine one day this channel will probably dry up, or this whole YouTube thing, the bubble will burst eventually, I think. But I'm always going to be reading until, I'm not here anymore. So, like I said, never say never. I just can't give you a timetable.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see myself doing YouTube forever, but I'm enjoying the ride while I'm here.
Sure. No, see, I just want to get to 100,000, then I can retire.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's why people stop subscribing, so I won't stop.
Cal, you get back here and you're fine. Like, if I'm already 2 books into your series, both of which I've given 5 stars to, keep sending me your books. Like, okay, I'll whore myself out for books I love.
I tell you, I would even if I wasn't reading Ryan Cahill's books, if he had sent me one of those broken binding versions, if he just had a Blood and Fire made, I'd read it ASAP. So yeah, I can be bought with a really, 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 really pretty book, But yeah,
I'm only human.
I wish Broken Binding and Folio Society had like a United States branch, because it's just like I want to order everything from there, but it's like shipping's more than the book. And
it was funny because for the Coronation of the King, and we'll wrap up here in a second because I got work in the morning, but Folio was like, yeah, international free shipping. And I was just like, oh, so I could probably pick up like 3 or 4 books.
Oh, it's like a minimum of $200 spent. Yeah.
It's like something like that. But like, they're like, yeah, for the Coronation, we're waiving internet. And I was just like,
now the time it was either $200 or $250 limited up a limit. You had to at least buy that much just to get the free shipping. And I was like, oh, I can buy 1 Game of Thrones book. They're so nice. But, oh my God. I was like, shipped. Those things are $400 a pop. I can't. My wife would, do I want to buy a PS5 or buy a Song of Ice and Fire 3, So yeah.
I thought they were like is shipping $150 on those things?
$250. It's like $120 or so. Yeah.
For shipping?
Yeah. Because there's 2 of them, they're each of them are 2 books, and the weight, they're so heavy. Yeah.
No.
That's why I'm shocked. I have had 2 viewers have sent me 2 of them. And I'm like, you guys are nuts. I can't believe you did that. Thank you so much.
I haven't tried to buy those. I have tried to buy I wanted to buy the Shine. Like, I've been wanting to get the Stephen King ones.
I just got the Pet Sematary folio.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is it beautiful?
It's pretty nice. It's better than
video pros, but your voice said it all.
1988.
Yeah, that's true. I've been lucky. Most of my Stephen Kings are in amazing shape, but that's because I've been very select.
Well, it's easy to find most stuff of Stephen King because there's like 20 million of each one in print, so you can usually find a pretty good copy easily, unless you're like really, really going, like, you want to find like Dance Macabre in like perfect condition or something. You might be paying a little more for it, but most of his books all have so many copies that
I ended up settling for what was actually a really rare copy of it. But I wanted the American hardcover in like good condition, and they wanted like $160 for it. And I was able to score the UK clown cover of the hardcover of it for like 75.
I have a first edition of it on hardcover. It cost me about 100, which I think was a bargain, honestly. It's in perfect shape. First edition, but like, 40th printing or something like that. But,
Still first edition.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is 10:35 my time.
Not here.
And I think we have been jawing it well, been having a good time. These things always go by so fast. I remember when I was on your channel, it was over like that.
Oh, it was like we were like 2 hours and he private messages me, I gotta go. I was like, oh shit. I realized how fast we've been going. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad everybody has like their own little version of like a one-on-one discussion now. I think that's really cool.
It's just fun to talk with your friends. It's a good excuse to, like, you've been here for some of my dumbest YouTube decisions.
Okay, like I said, I'm starting year 5, and I still make them all the time. Like I said, I messed up my camera, guys. I touched something on the front, and it reset all my settings, and that's why the color is like screwy right now. So I'm still trying to work through that because camera's smarter than I am. I don't know how to fix things. So yeah, I still make mistakes all the time.
I read all day, pretty much.
It varies.
Well, I'm getting better.
Sometimes I'll read 10 minutes, and sometimes I'll read 5 hours. It just depends on the day. Depends on the day.
But on that note, Derry says that she loves our faces, so that's appreciated. Someone's got to.
Let's see if you say that when I start talking about rain wilds on the Discord.
I mean, she still puts up with me, so it is what it is.
Mostly harmless.
Mike, thank you for agreeing to carve out some time to just chat and hang out. It's been fun.
Thank you for the invite. I feel like people are scared to ask me to come on. They secretly hate me. I don't know. I don't get asked.
I mean,
as much as people think
I've literally just dropped you a StreamYard link before and said nothing.
Is that the one that I hopped on? Yeah, I was editing. Yeah, sure, I'll hop on.
Yeah, I just dropped it in there.
I was planning on doing my first sprints on the channel for the new Red Rising book, and now I'm pretty sure, since I'm talking to the author on Thursday, I'm gonna be getting it early, so I'm not waiting to do that. So
yeah. All right. Well, everybody, I am signing off. Thank you for joining, and that's all I really got for you.
Thanks, man.